Oh, that explains why Stassi wasn't fired, because she pretty much was the show at the time.
Honey, she backhanded Kristen, and they made a joke about it, and they
that looked like it hurt.
I was like, Kristen better than me because I'd beat her ass. I don't give a fuck if I slept with your boyfriend. You put your hands on me. Have you lost your mind? And it's like, how many times has Jax fought? They have not fired him. So no, they can't fire him.
Not yet.
Like, they fired him now. Allegedly. Allegedly he was fired, but still.
Frank was a piece of shit. So
absolutely.
I feel like that fight would have been okay. I mean, I would have fought Frank. I don't even fight.
Yeah.
I would have taken off all the chunky sweaters to fight him.
Not the chunky sweaters.
I want to give a disclaimer. I hope that our friends in the community are not going to unfollow me and take distaste about my take about Monique, or our take about Monique.
It's like, if you like, she ain't sending me nothing. It's like, so I'm like, because one, I have said this before. I put this clip on my page, on the Mocha Minutes page. I'm like, both Candace and Monique have my sympathy and empathy, which is why I'm like, exactly. Monique is not irredeemable here. I'm not throwing her away. I just need you to own it. You want Candace to own it, and she did that too. She's like, do you own your, like, I do own my part in my mouth. Monique owned her part in her actions. I'm sorry, that's all I need you to do.
We could have wrapped this up in September.
It's like, we could have buttoned this right on up, but you didn't want to relinquish. And I'm like, Monique, you're not right in this, and I need you to stop. It's like, baby, it's like, I'm tired of talking about this fight. We are all I'm like, girl, this was y'all whole season. So I'm glad that the blow up with Portia and Kenya happened at the reunion. They ain't talk about it really during the show. And it's like, I'm so glad they didn't. It's like, could you imagine this happened on Atlanta? It would be the whole damn season. I mean, but they've had other people that had dust ups and everything. Even with that pajama party, it's like there was a lot of shit that happened in like episode and a half. It was like, well, goddamn, everybody.
Candy getting upset.
I will drag you in this bitch. I'm like, I believe it, y'all. Y'all better get away from her.
When she first yelled at Mimi about tardy for the party, like at whatever party that was, she was like, you better get out of my face from you because I will blow up on your ass. I said, and I had never seen that fight of Candy yet. Yeah, Candy had
we're not even talking grammatically correct. She gonna beat your ass. You better get the fuck on out of here. She looks scrappy, okay? Candy looks scrappy as fuck because Doris is her mama.
She's so
Mama Joyce. I said Doris, Mama Joyce.
Oh, I know who you meant. She's so even keeled. I didn't expect that. So when she does get like turned up like that, it's like,
ooh, tell me more. I gotta see it.
Exactly.
I would like to see it.
And I don't think that anybody that stands Monique stands violence. And I don't think that I want to just make sure that people understand that, like, I get that there's a difference of opinion, and this is likely about a popularity contest.
Oh, it was definitely popularity. It's like, like, I don't, like, I understood Monique, but I also understand Candace. I see both. That's why I was like, I'm team both sides in this. I might join Monty and be team Table.
I like that. I like team Table.
Right. Yeah. I feel like I'm really like hashtag team wig glue. I feel like I should be in the side of the wig glue because you're the real MVP.
I like that. I'm team both are wrong. I'm not on board yet with team both are right and wrong because I don't see yet how Monique was right. But I am team both are wrong. I'm also team I dislike violence more than I dislike Candace.
I like that.
It's so that's how I am. I'm more anti-violence than I am anti-Candace. And I was always relatively neutral on Monique.
Yeah. And I'm like, I saw like the little lying stuff because when she did it with Kendall, I'm like, okay, so I feel like you're lying. Because then you like try to throw Charisse under the bus. Charisse sat there looking gorgeous, going like, I own my part. No, I was trying to hurt Giselle. This is why her and Giselle could move on and get to a friendship because she didn't pass the buck. Monique did. He's like, this is all Charisse's idea. I'm sorry, did you film with Kendall or did she? She wasn't a full-time housewife. She can't dictate anything. You filmed with Kendall. You brought up Sherman's past. That was not Sharice. No one told you. Now it's like, oh, that's not my fault. It's Sharice's fault. I'm sorry. Did she put a battery in your back and tell you to say it? Because you surely put a battery in Candace's back because you wanted her to go after Sharice and Giselle. And that backfired. The monster that y'all created, the Frankenstein monster that y'all created, backfired because she always opened her mouth in defense other than Sharice because she felt some sort of way about Sharice shading her. And then Sharice, she said you had a shade. This is season 3, y'all, if y'all don't know. When they were on the bus, she said that Sharice had a shady bitch moment. What Sharice heard her say is she called me a shady bitch. That's not what she said, but I'm like, so there's a generational disconnect here. It's like, I don't think you realize that this is a generational disconnect. She didn't call you shady bitch. She said you had a shady bitch moment. And so she had no problem. So other than that, most of the time she was defending Karen and Monique, the two people who are like, I just can't be on your side. Nope. And so for Sharice to be, not Sharice, for Robin, God, Karen, for Karen to be like, I couldn't pick a side. But then also when Sharice and Giselle were beefing, Robin didn't pick a side. And Karen said, where does your loyalty lie? I'm like, really, Karen? It's like, really? It's like, wait a minute. You had no problem telling Robin she was being disloyal because she didn't pick a side. And you're sitting here like, I can't because I have to sit on this fence. I have a seat where I sit on the fence. Girl, shut up. It's like,
I have a seat.
It's like, what are you doing? Girl, shut up. It's like, you, and I'm surprised Robin didn't bring that up, and she should have. I'm like, Karen, can I ask a question? Why do you had no problem telling me that I should have picked a side with Sharice and Giselle, and now you're not sitting here picking a side? Explain. Please explain. And y'all didn't ask her that. Okay. So yeah, this fight is over. I'm glad. As Lily already said, Monique is not coming back. She had no problem telling everybody, I am not fired. And then the night of the reunion, she went on live and said she's not coming back because she feels gaslit. And I have a feeling because she watched and she didn't like what she saw. And
she could tell that Andy did not really prefer her.
Hi, ma'am. He is representing your employer. What employer is able to say it's okay to fight at work? What employer is going to say? What employer? Who told you that? Who said that? Nobody.
Like, we also have to not discount the placements of the seating. Now, we know that Giselle and Karen are not the most dramatic this season, but where did they get to sit? Also, with social distancing, Monique was on the last seat of the left side if you're facing Andy, which was like, if you're 6 feet apart, that's like 30 feet away from him.
Right. Like, I'm like, girl.
Those last seats are traditionally created for the people that are not of interest to Andy.
Right. I was like, yeah, you sitting closest to, and that's usually because I don't think there was
he's either your favorite or you're the most dramatic.
Right. Because NeNe always sat closest to Andy.
She also was probably involved with the drama.
Right. So not only was she a fan favorite, but she always had something going on that season. It's like, girl, I think even at the most part, even when she was just a friend of, I'm trying to remember her placement at the reunion because she still came to the reunion.
Like, keep in mind
where full time.
Yeah, keep in mind where Bethany always sits. Even her first season back, she always stirs shit, but her first season back, it was mostly internal, her battles where she was just crying all the time, but she still sat next to him.
And no one told Bethany to stop crying.
Carol said in her I see what you mean. Like, let it go, blah, blah, blah.
And everybody brings up that Candy is a crier too. Cause I understand difference between sad tears and mad tears. No one told Candy to stop fucking crying. Nobody.
Not one of them got their ass beat on TV either. So you would think that there'd be a little leeway for how long you get to cry for getting your ass beat on TV. Especially when you have trauma.
Correct.
But I don't.
Y'all don't get
I've run that point into the ground. So I'm going to stop saying that.
Yes. So let's it's not really switching gears. It's like sliding into another gear. Let's talk about the additions of the husband, shall we?
I love Chris Bassett so much.
Chris Bassett is like, he is in this running to be a Gold Star husband.
He has to be. He
definitely is.
He must have done some outside like therapeutic work, because he is able to talk that girl off a ledge every time in such a way that I am so jealous that I do not have access to him.
It was like, wow.
And he can cook.
And he's man, them purple potatoes, I'm like, I still dream about when I saw them. I'm like, oh, these look good. It's like,
my boyfriend can cook, but he like isn't like his own restaurant level of chef.
I mean, he's doing like shit on there, like, he's doing catering. He's doing online cooking classes. By the way, there's a few top chefs that were on the Top Chef show. They're doing online classes too. I think Nini is the one I'm thinking about. She does them. Because I saw
there was somebody who was like online this morning was like, why isn't Candace leaving the show? And I was like, well, honestly, she just bought a like $1 million home, and I know Chris is doing I know Chris is doing online classes and catering, but like it would be fiscally unsound for her to leave right now.
It's like, yeah, so none of them. It's like Monique should have came back. I'm like, I'm not like she needs to go. I'm like, no, she can come back. And
she made fun of that little piece of paper that she's getting from Bro on television.
Check. I was like, oh, so you don't need to be here. Mind you, they were still offering her a contract. And I don't know what kind of contract. Some people
we don't know if it was
some of like full-time. I don't know. I surely do not care. It's like it's like she could come back. I don't see a reason why she shouldn't have come back. It's like all of them should still be there, because I will, I feel like I'm down on this hill, but when it comes to ensemble cast, Potomac is the best. It's like all of them work together well. Like, it's not a Jersey where you need a Teresa and they will pause production until her ass get out of jail, and that's when they'll film. They're like, why y'all pushing back production? Because Teresa's still in jail. But why
also creating a show about her in jail? If she doesn't run that network based on that shit alone, I don't know how you could ever debate that she's not like the GOAT, as the kids say.
I was like, I don't particularly, because after that thing with the Posh Fashion Show, I wasn't a fan of her, but I was like, I can't ignore that Teresa Giudice is a Gold Star housewife. It's like, yeah, Jersey don't run without her. So if she ever decides to leave, it will be her choice. They will not be firing her.
What was the acronym she came up for Posh?
Oh my God. And it was like so weird. I'm like,
it was really awkward. It was something Cocor every day.
It was just like
she's so funny.
And she's somebody who's not all that quick either. So that's why she resorts to fighting. She's like, she can argue to a certain extent, but she ain't quick either. So it's kind of like, yeah, she's punchy too, because she's like, you know what, bitch, I'm gonna beat your ass. I'm like, okay, well, fine, fine. I watch Mob Wives. I know how Jersey girls get down, New York girls get down. That's fine. I get it, because Drita can argue and she will also beat your ass. Drita is my favorite. I'm like, if they bring back Mob Wives, I will die. I need Drita there, because I feel like it still will be somebody on site for Drita. I'm like, how long this show been off? And she's like, bitch, I've been waiting for your ass. What?
Did you just take her earrings off?
Yes, Drita, child. Drita, what's that girl from Teen Bomb? She was like, girl, when I see you, it's on site, I'm gonna beat your ass. I'm like,
I love the imagery of women taking their earrings off before they fight. That's like, really fun. That's always been really funny to me.
Oh my God, Drita will beat your ass. I'm like, please leave Drita alone. She looked like, excuse me, and she looked like she could fight. So it's like when everybody talks about fights, I'm like, did you ever watch the show Jerseylicious? So it's a show, and mind you, this is all when the Jersey rape happened. Jersey Shore was on MTV. Real Housewives of New Jersey was on Bravo, and then I think it was the Style Network, and God knows what the fuck it is now. They had a show called Jerseylicious. It was about a hair salon, and there were two hairstylists. Well, it's a hairstylist and a makeup artist. They didn't get along. They had not gotten along since day one. They have always been at each other's throat. Well, second or third season, apparently the little makeup artist named Olivia said something about the hairstylist Tracy. Tracy's a little bit taller. She's a little bit stockier. Tracy beat her ass in a Sonic parking lot.
Oh.
I said, look up Jerseylicious, Tracy and Olivia. Girl, that was the funniest thing. She's like, oh, you talking about me? And it was like, what you gonna do? Mind you, Olivia's the one on food. She got food in her hand. And then they start fighting in the Sonic parking lot. I said, and yeah, it's funny.
Gotta get that slushy.
Right. So Tracy is so far removed. She's like, I got a husband and children. And she's like, do you know there's still people who walk up to me? Because she also has a podcast. It's not a Jerseylicious podcast, but it's like just telling her life. He was like, do you know how many people still come up to me about that thing in Sonic parking lot? It's like, that was like 10 years ago. This is crazy.
Well, I mean, how many people bring up Teresa flipping the table?
Well, that's true.
15 years ago.
Because it's like, the thing about it is Jerseylicious doesn't even come on anymore. Because like the Style Network went completely defunct. And so it's like, oh, wow. I'm like, people still remember that? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what it was about Tracy. I like both Tracy and Olivia. And I was like, I don't know, it's just something about Tracy that I just like. She beat her ass. But it's like, and the thing about it is, no one ever told Olivia to stop fucking mouthing off to Tracy before she beat your ass again. Nobody told her that. It's like, nope. Don't be no punk. Don't be no punk, bitch. Don't let her punk you.
The wealth of television that comes out of the small state of New Jersey is insane.
Like, they're fighting in a the girls are fighting in the Sonic parking lot.
I've never seen Mob Wives either. I'm guessing that's a Jersey-based show too.
So I think it's New York. I think it's New York and Jersey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but you gotta, I gotta find it. I gotta figure out where it is.
There's just so much content in that tiny little state.
Mob Wives was a staple on VH1. I loved Mob Wives. So it's like all these black women fighting. I'm like, y'all obviously have never seen Mob Wives. Drita mopped the floor with a whole lot of people. She's like, let me tell you something. I will beat your ass, bitch. It's like, yes, fight.
I need to find Mob Wives. DM me if you know where I can.
Yeah, I'm gonna look for it to see if it's streaming anywhere.
Because I think they're obviously I need this in my life.
You do. There's whispers that they're supposed to be filming next year of a new season of Mob Wives. I'm like, if Drita ain't back, you can keep it.
I think I've added The Bachelor now to my repertoire because like of The Bachelorette, I mostly watch The Bachelorette for Kendrick's breakdown.
So I could like hear him go, Bennett. My God. I'm like, I love this so much. Kendrick completely the official Bachelorette recapper. I'm like, you need to be in Bachelor Nation recapping shit because he is fucking hilarious. I'm like, whew. I'm like, and I'm trying to hold on for The Bachelor. I'm like, let me see, because I haven't been able to ever watch a Bachelor. This is only my second season of watching The Bachelorette. I watched Rachel's season because I was Rachel's season because she was the Bachelorette. Let me see what's going on. And then I watched this one because I was like, I guess I need to watch. And then, the whole shit with Dale and Claire. And I'm like, y'all are lying, but that's fine because y'all happy. I don't care. And then Tasia, and I'm like, I gotta watch. So I'm like,
well, Taria told me when I was on her podcast that I was like really missing out and not listening to Kendrick's podcast. So I hadn't listened to a lot of podcasts at that point either. Like, I think I'd listened to a couple of like Moni's and Taria's, and I watched the Bravo breakdown every week, but I tuned into to Kendrick's podcast before I had watched The Bachelorette. And I was like, I have no idea what he's talking about, but
this is fun. I'm like, we gotta watch. It was like, we gotta watch as a family when The Bachelor comes back on, because.
And he kept calling it the La Quinta, and I was like, "This man
is so great. This
hysterical.
Is so
I need to now
I don't know what's going on in a La Quinta." I said.
I love how he always goes the La Quinta, a Waldorf Astoria resort. He always makes sure to include that.
Leave me alone. Leave us alone, Kendrick. Please leave us alone. So why are you doing this? Leave us alone.
She's lying. Do not leave me alone. I need more of you in my life.
Okay, so
enough about Kendrick.
I know we love Kendrick so much. You know that's my sweet Memphis.
For hours about
he's
Kendrick.
My sweet Memphis cupcake. Y'all know I love him. My God. He is so good at this. My God. So let's talk more about the husbands, the snacky ones. Because I'm like,
sorry, I got us totally.
No, it's totally fine. We're gonna be tangential. I know, like, it's a 3.5 reunion, y'all. 3.5 hour reunion, y'all. So we can't just not talk about this. Anyway, so
we have talked for 4 hours and 9 minutes. I wanted to remind you of the time. I know time and you are not friends right now.
It's a social construct. I'm like, what is it? Oh my God.
But I don't want to stop. I just wanted to give you a time check. And
that's fine.
This podcast is going to be like epic Ryan Bailey lengths at this point.
Ooh.
We're going to have to put like timestamps.
I'm like, it's like literally, I'm just like, it's going to be, I can tell, I already tell y'all, this is going to be a multi-part thing because it just needs to happen that way. I'm just letting y'all know.
Oh my goodness. I love it. A tease for next week.
See? So I like the addition of Eddie. I liked how measured his voice was talking about his family. And it was like his story. So I feel like he could tell it. So I liked having Eddie there. I love Ray has been at every reunion. So you knew he would be there. And I'm like very happy he was. I liked the Chris's. So
okay.
Let's talk about Chris Samuels. It's like, let's talk about this because there's a lot to unpack with him.
Let's talk about the husband.
Let's talk. Oh, we're talking about don't you dare talk about my husband. I was like, okay, Lisa Rinna.
You beast.
It's like, you beast. Beast, how dare you? I'm sorry.
Calling Eileen Davidson a beast is not correct.
I was just like, y'all don't understand. That is Ashley Abbott. She's giving you Ashley Abbott, okay?
You beast.
Beast. How dare you? I said,
I love that.
Girl, we don't have no Bravo Emmys.
I love you, beast, and I love at Eileen's reaction.
How dare you? I'm like, oh, Ashley Abbott, no beast? I was like, see.
Calling Eileen Davidson the beast is pretty incorrect.
I'm sorry.
As well.
I was like, I am screaming at how she was like, what? Like, Ashley,
those pearls were clutched and pulled
honey,
off her
she sucked up all the oxygen. I said, ooh, Ashley Abbott is not for the shits, okay? Don't you call
those pearls were clutched and all over the floor.
So let's talk about Chris Samuels. So he came in hot, like, they trying to shoot the shit before they reset the scene. And he's like, first of all, I ain't got time to be watching nothing. I'm talking about this plot on my child. I'm like,
listen, you have time to watch you have time to watch something on Netflix too. Don't lie to me.
Everybody watched the Michael Jordan shit. You could have just been like, yeah, I watched it. But then when they came back from commercial break, hey Andy, how you doing?
I know he changed his demeanor real quick.
He's like, girl, Lord have mercy.
Hi, Andy. Hi,
how you doing, Chris? It's like, girl.
Hi, buddy.
Here was the thing, and it's so weird with Chris because we all know the purpose of the reunion is to discuss what happened on the show. What was shown to the public. Chris Samuels decided to use this as the stage for his confrontation of the people who tried to hurt his family. Chris, Gigi is not here, so you need to take this up with her. So here's the deal. for everybody who doesn't know, there was a conversation about the rumors that were going around about Monique after Andy's baby shower in January of 2019. Sometime after January 2019, Monique found out that there was a discussion of the rumors because Candace said she told Monique, but she didn't. She told Karen, who told Monique. And then Karen said, oh, Candace didn't tell you? And it was like, oh, okay. So if everybody remembers, the reunion for season 4 was shot in August of 2019. And at that reunion, Monique and Candace said they were not friends and they made up at the reunion. So that is 8 months after Andy's baby shower is when they made up. In May of 2019, Nene Leakes came to DC and opened a boutique at the MGM Grand, where I believe Giselle, Monique, and also Charisse Jackson Jordan were in that room. If you look on certain pages, I think it's still on Nene's. I think it's still on Charisse's. I don't remember if it's on Charisse's or not. I know it's on Nene's. You will see that Monique is in a very cute pink number, and she has her hand around the waist of Charisse Jackson Jordan. Then in June 2019, Ashley had a baby shower. At the table with Charisse Jackson Jordan was Monique Samuels. So these are 2 events not being taped for Potomac because they weren't filming, that she was in the same room as Charisse. The Charisse that they are alluding to was involved in spreading a rumor about her. That the plot, quote unquote, was that they were going to bring up at the season 4 reunion that not only did Monique have an affair with her trainer on Chris, that her youngest child is not Chris's baby. That was supposed to happen at the season 4 reunion. I'm going to keep saying season 4. That did not happen. Gigi, and the reason this is coming up is because the rumor is that Gigi went straight to production with this, and they shut that down like, we are not doing this. And so when it came up at the reunion, yesterday's part of the reunion, Giselle said, we were just talking about the rumors. There was no plot. She is saying there was no plot. Robin didn't really say too much because it's very interesting. Robin was also at the table at the baby shower because the people who went to the baby shower was Candace, Robin, and Giselle from the cast. I don't think Charisse was there. Kind of don't remember. It's inconsequential because she's not a full-time or friend of the show. She's a friend of people on the show, but she's not a friend of because they ain't giving no contract. I have a feeling I'm pretty sure, I feel like now Charisse may get a contract for season 6. Because y'all talked about her way too much this season for her not to be there.
Yeah, maybe that's a little Easter egg.
That might be. It's like if they bring Charisse back, girl. It's like, this is going to be great.
I hope she brings more storylines than champagne rooms, though.
Please do. And it was like, because Eddie was like, don't put my shit on here. Don't talk about us. I don't know what the hell is in their agreement. That may be the reason why she couldn't. Because remember, first season, Eddie was like, you get on the show, I'm divorcing you. And that's exactly what happened. So it's like he didn't want her to do the show from jump. So that's that. So Chris, and so the order of events was Monique went live. And I think this is one of the lives with Raleigh Knox in it. But at the time, Raleigh wasn't in the shot. She said that people were plotting. She's like, I have people on my cast who are plotting to spread rumors about me. I don't spread rumors. I spread truth. This was a live. So somebody who was in Monique's live went to Candace's live and said, Monique said that y'all were plotting on her. So Candace said, there was a conversation about someone plotting to spread rumors about Monique. She said, and she did say Robin was there, and it was just like, wait, how are you? So it's like, you just said Robin was there. And she said plotation, which hilarious. Make up all the words you want, baby. Make up all the words.
I love it.
So then after she also mentioned Chase's name. So then Monique and Chris got on a live because they said they were angry that Candace brought up the name of their child. And then they gave more context to the quote unquote plot. Now, Monique's position is that when they said there was no plot, no one said there was a plot. No one's plotting on you. So when the husbands joined them, she said they made it seem like I made up the word plot. I put the plot out. I made this thing about plot up, or like I'm the one who brought it up. And it was like, but see, this is how telephone really works. Mm-hmm. She said they were plotting. Candace said there was a conversation about plotting. And then I think she may have like, so that was the plotation, whatever she used. And then Monique said plot. So technically, Monique is the first person who brought up the plot. So when the episode came up where Giselle was in her confessional talking about the rumor, that is why I believe, I don't have any scientific proof, it didn't make the waves on social media because everybody had already heard it from Monique's mouth. Like, oh, so when she said she's like, word on the street is she got a little too close for comfort with the trainer, and Big Boy found out.
Oh,
and it was just like
the accent.
He was like,
you sounded just like her.
I be working, sis. I
was gonna say you were practicing.
So I'm about to call him Big Boy. I'm not gonna call him that.
Don't do that.
Please don't. I'm like, Chris, don't come after me, please. So when Chris said she called me Big Boy and that's disrespectful, and but you know, we Black Lives Matter and all this shit. I'm like, I know the person who put her hands on another Black person is not sitting here not saying like agreeing. I'm like, didn't you hit Candace? Shut up. It's like, you can be quiet. So when she said that, I was like, why do I feel like that's not the first time she has said Big Boy? It wasn't, because at season 4 at Candace's wedding, she said that to Monique's face. And
she said it before.
It was like, that wasn't the first time. And I was like, wait a minute, she said it to Monique's face. So why ain't you check her when you heard her say, don't call my husband Big Boy? He's like, come on, Giselle, don't do that. So why were you, Chris was like making a thing like, I gotta be angry because she called me Big Boy on this show. I'm like, so you missed it when she said it last season? Because she said it to your wife's face and she ain't say nothing.
Well, the repetition of it maybe is like what it's like. Oh, okay. Once it was funny. Twice.
Now she's like, how dare you call me Big Boy? And I'm like, okay, so he called you Big Bama. I want to know what nickname she can call you. That won't be offensive.
I did enjoy that flashback of Gigi watching Monique fold Chris's underwear.
I never noticed that before. I'm like, he do got some big ass underwear, don't he?
And she was like, those are the biggest draws I've ever seen.
She's like, and he could fill them out. I'm like, yeah, because that's something you say.
But they were like,
but they were good friends.
They were pretty big underwear. But that doesn't mean you call him Big Boy. That's true.
Correct. It's like, that's fine. Because I mean, she did walk around calling Ray Uncle Ben. And every time she did it, Karen checked her on it. Which is why I think she don't call him that anymore.
Oh my God.
Because she said something. And it's just
Giselle is such an asshole.
Right. And it was just like, free Uncle Ben. I'm like, girl, please leave me alone.
Free Uncle Ben.
Free Uncle Ben.
Oh my God.
I was just like, girl, see, you didn't check her, and now it seemed like he out of line. And it's like, she's out of line, which to a certain extent, his excuse, I'm like, yeah, that's right. I'm like, I don't need you to give me a lesson. Just say, I don't like her calling me that. That is literally enough for me. I'm like, you're right. Mm-hmm. It's like, that's fine. So now you are up here doing all of this, saying they tried to plot and bring this to the show, but y'all set out y'all mouths is supposed to come up in season 4 at the reunion. Mm-hmm. It's season 5. It didn't come up because production's like, we're not doing it. So Monique is like, oh, and she talked about the plot. Y'all just didn't air it. And I was just like, what is she talking about? Because if they are saying no at the season 4 reunion, do you honestly think they would have shown it on the show? They said no at the season 4 reunion. So when they showed the unaired footage, when she had on that burgundy leather and the glasses, she said that after Monique acted a goddamn jackass, and this was after the lake house.
Mm-hmm.
So she was like, why are they coming at me? I didn't bring up the fact that there's a rumor going around that she slept with her trainer and that baby is not Chris's. That is not discussing a plot. This is literally discussing a rumor that's allegedly out. Kind of like how you said that Jamal is slinging his big D all over Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like those kind of rumors. And it was unaired footage because they were never going to put it out. So when watching Chris and Monique be their sticking place, they talked about it on the show and it was like, but the plot didn't come up.
It didn't ever need to come up. And Andy
it was never going to. Go ahead.
And Andy tried to stop him. He was like, we already talked about this. And Chris is like, I need to speak my truth. And Andy's like, okay, fine.
He was like, okay, go right. Let him talk. Let him talk.
Andy seemed so tired at that point. I'm guessing that was probably hour 9.
It 10. Had to have been 9 or 10.
Yeah, because he was like,
he was like, God, I don't want to do this anymore. If we talk about, oh my God, he's like, Leanne, my panty liner is tired. My weave is tired. It's exhausted.
I was gonna quote you quoting Leanne. That's funny.
My weave is exhausted. I'm like, yeah, my weave is exhausted too, girl, because I'm tired of talking about this shit. So to watch him be like, let's talk about the plot. I'm like, baby, we're at the reunion. We talk about what comes up on the show. This did not come up on the show. And the only reason why people know about this plot is because you said it. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing that people are saying, y'all brought this up. Why are you doing this? This is why when you said the rumor about the trainer, it didn't make no trickle or no splash on social media because you, Monique, had already told people and you don't want to own that. So she kept putting up the video of Candace talking about it, but I don't think she put in the part of that clip where it says, Monique said that y'all are plotting on her. The reason she talked about it is because you brought it up. And since she don't follow you, she don't know exactly what you said. She's only going by what the fan told her. That she said y'all are plotting on her. So that's like, but you're not adding in that part of the audio. You're taking the context out. She talked about it because somebody asked her, not to say, let me tell y'all what's going on. It's like, she wouldn't have talked about it. That's why they shut this shit down. I'm like, y'all need to talk about what's going on the show. Right. The plot is not on the show.
And it seems like Monique's doing this like salad bar defense of like, well, I'm going to extract this thing that this person said and this person that the other person said, and then put it all together and make it make sense for me when we're all looking at it saying, but girl, there's holes.
Big holes. Big. It was like, ma'am, it don't make no sense. Because essentially you want to take it out on Giselle. When he said the main plotter, I was like, okay, so how is it not Gigi? How is it not
probably
her?
Is Gigi, but I don't.
How
again,
you not
salad bar defense.
It's like this is so weird. So I appreciate Candace going, I'm gonna say this directly to you, Chris. I'm gonna say this directly to you. She's like, I didn't come to you, and I have another theory. She's like, I didn't come to you with a rumor because if I did, every rumor I heard, we'd be talking for 3 days. The reason why she came to Ashley is because she had video proof. It wasn't just somebody telling her. They sent her videos and photos. So she actually had proof to back it up. That's why she went to Ashley. Well, technically she went to Giselle to go to Ashley, but she had something to back it up, not to say, I heard a rumor about your husband. It was more like, so this is what I was sent about your husband. She had something to go with it. She didn't have proof that there was a plot in motion, quote unquote, to come at her. She didn't have any proof. What's the point? It was like, and also, y'all weren't friends. Why are you leaving that out? You weren't friends. Y'all weren't cool anymore. And so you want to put all of this on, Candace, Chris, that, you her friend, why you ain't just come to her? You mean the friend that she put her hands on?
The hands hadn't happened yet, but she did call Karen.
Right. And Karen
and say, what do I do? Yeah. What do I do
with this information? They were just talking about the rumor. She didn't have any concrete proof that this was going to happen, and production shut it down.
Right.
Which I'm glad they did. Because as messy as people say that Bravo is, they were like, okay, so this is vile. We're not doing this on the show. We're not about that. We're not going to do this. So I'm sitting here like, girl, what did you think was going to happen? What did you think was going to happen? It's like, it didn't happen. So him getting very upset. And then they brought up the part of the live. I honestly was surprised they brought this up. I shouldn't have been, but I was. Because I remember part of this live, but I guess I missed part of it. Because I was like, why don't I remember this? So not only did he dead name Caitlyn Jenner, but he did that, and he said that he wanted to stomp these tricks out. Y'all some low down dirty tricks for doing this. That. You're lashing out at her co-stars, but you ain't lashing out at Gigi. She the one that fueled this. She's the one who's doing this. Y'all gave her a cease and desist, but you know, she still went live because of the wording of your cease and desist.
The only thing I can think of,
I'm like, I want to know what it said.
The only thing I can think of why she went after Giselle is because Gigi's not on the show, and she wanted to create a moment out of it.
Yeah, I was just like
a storyline, if you like, but to create a storyline out of at her own expense, I guess, which
it's so weird. It's like, see, this is my justification because Giselle was trying to hurt me. It's like, baby, you got to prove it. And then it's like he somewhat went against Robin, but Robin didn't get a lot of smoke about this, and I feel like she shouldn't have. I'm not saying she should have, but it was mostly Giselle, and it was just like, so when he was like, I apologize for my act, I apologize. I'm embarrassed by my actions. No, you're not. Because nobody came after you for that. It was like last night, I saw a lot of people all of a sudden responding to it. And this was months old. And I'm like, maybe we all missed it. Because I was like, wait a minute, did he say Bruce Jenner? I was like, what? So when you said, I thought we were talking about Bruce Banner, I was like, did he just didn't name Caitlyn Jenner? It's like, baby, do better than this apology. And it's like, yeah, she don't have to forgive you because you like, I wish I was a lady so I could beat your ass. It's like, oh, and I'm supposed to
that would have been received a little better. I wish I was a woman so I could beat your ass. And I don't think that he should say any of those things, but to dead name a trans person is pretty fucked up.
It's like, sir, it's like, just can I just apologize? No, they don't have to fucking listen to you. You came out here hot and heavy, ready to get in people's asses, and it's like, hi, yeah, that's pretty fucked up, and that is just, it was gross and it was nasty. Okay, because it's not just against me. It's like, why are you like, that's the only you would want to be a woman so you can beat on me? I'm sorry, what?
Well, evidently in their household, women beat on each other, so I am not surprised.
It was just like, and it didn't help. Monique's like, and he used to do that for a living. So I'm like, Monique.
So not only do we have Monique's fans telling her like, you're a queen, she deserved it, like she's got her husband in her house, which is I know the reaction when she first did it was like, well, that's embarrassing, which I know he meant for her, but he's also like clearly backing her behavior for beating up Candace by saying, I wish I was a woman so I could beat you up. So clearly we've got some toxic, violent shit that's backing up Monique's behavior.
You can't say like it's embarrassing to fight in public, but you have no problem publicly saying you would beat your ass if I could. And it's like, you have no proof. And it was like, and the thing about it is, I'm not telling you not to be angry, because that kind of shit would make me angry. But you need to direct it to the right place. And notice you're not throwing it against Gigi, you're throwing it against Giselle. And it's like, if she had took your side on the fight, you wouldn't have been saying shit. So you need to miss me with all of this. Let me get on my high horse and say how wrong you are. I'm like, yeah, but if she had been Team Monique in that fight, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't have said nothing. It's like, please don't play me. I know how that's going. This is why Karen tried to remain neutral, but she leaned more to Team Monique because she knew better. She's like, nope, they like Monique, and I can't just be going against her.
Right. Karen can't stand getting feedback from the fans.
She'd be like, that's why I thought it was hilarious when they asked who thinks that Karen is more Team Monique. The fact that Ashley said it, I was like, see, this is why Ashley is not on anybody's team except Ashley.
I was surprised that more people didn't raise their hand. I figured Candace would have.
Candace did. It was like Candace and Ashley.
Oh, I didn't see that. Okay.
Yeah, because when he said, because at first I didn't see Ashley raise her hand. I'm like, maybe they just didn't show that on camera. I'm like, I feel like she may have had, well, yeah. And I'm like, wait a minute. And I thought it was interesting that Giselle didn't think she was Team Monique. Robin didn't. And it was just like, I think to a certain extent, because the way she talked about it with Candace and the way she talked about it, Monique, I think the conversation she had with Monique during the season did seem a little neutral. I think that whole meeting at her house, if she had phrased it differently to Candace, like, Candace, I'm gonna be honest with you. You are both my friends. If you had asked me to do this, I would have did the same thing for you. If you had said, I want to have a meeting with the ladies, absolutely, you can have it in my house. Both of you, if it was like, so I do believe that about Karen. That if Candace had asked, can we have a meeting? Like, how do you guys think I should, like, even if she was looking for advice, like, how do you think I should proceed with this? Because it's interesting, as much as Giselle has an issue with Monique, and as much as Robin has an issue with Monique, and both of them based on her behavior, they both are like, yeah, we didn't want to see her in jail. I'm like, right, yeah, but don't tell Candace, like, you should care about her kids. Yeah, the person who birthed those children need to care about them more than I do. And I'm glad she said that. I'm like, y'all stop saying, like, you should care about her kids. I'm like, Monique should care about her children, because what if it wasn't me? It was some random person she got into a fight with and wasn't her friend. They'd be like, I don't give a goddamn how many children you got. Get your ass to jail. Go to jail. You know who else said that? Karen. She was like, no, I'm pressing charges. Go to jail. I can't fight. What we doing? I'm like, okay, Karen. All right. So to watch Chris get all upset that nobody's owning this plot that never happened on a show, he was like, yeah. So I watched people say, they did talk about the plot. They talked about the trainer rumor. They did not say, we was going to bring this up. Like, what plot? They literally just said it was talking about the rumor, because on the same vein of talking about Charisse and the fireman and Karen and Mr. Blue Eyes. That literally is how I looked at it when it happened. I was like, you do realize, and one, Karen said that fireman rumor too. So why is Karen acting like she don't do this shit? I'm like, you know what, Karen? You know what? You got everybody fooled on here, don't you? It's like, girl, you messy too. Messy is the name of the game. You were on Housewives. I'm like, this is not real life. Because in real life, a bitch you not fucking with, you not sitting down with them, you're not going to go eat cheese and drink wine with them in a barn, okay? You're not doing it. It's like, yeah, I'm good. I'm not going to talk to her. I won't be there. That's all you had to do. And I'm like, Chris Samuels, I don't know what you do, but I'm glad that Candace said that to them. She was like, that rumor was stupid. And she was like, because one, she had no proof. She couldn't say this is the rumor going on, but the bad part about it, y'all knew those rumors were going on. And it's like, this wasn't new. You said you've known about this for 2 years. I'm like,
I think that Oh No Bravo said something to the effect of, can we please stick to the stuff that happens on the show?
On the show. And that was Andy's point. I'm like, this didn't come up. No, and then no questioning paternity came up. What you doing?
And you need to bring the receipts to a reunion. We get it. And that's what happened. But like, for the most part, we're here to because not most of the viewers aren't digging around in Reddit, aren't like, don't have Bravo fan accounts. Like, so everybody coming to this for the most part like, only has context of
what are they talking about?
Right. I have a little more context because people like Taria and you have just so much tea, but like the average viewer only knows what happens on the show. So doing lives about things that aren't on the show, like doing like diss tracks
Right. It's kind of like we got a diss track. We got, words on wax. We got you doing lives talking about something that literally didn't even come up on the show. And they're like, there was no plot. What are you doing? Especially when you said out your mouth, this is supposed to happen at the season 4 reunion. We're at the season 5 reunion. Let that mouse go. And if that was the case, what the fuck is she doing in your fucking house? What is she doing in your house?
Well, I cannot answer you.
Girl, explain that to me. We talking about hood rules. Somebody who's trying to ruin your family, they can't come in your home. You would not be slapping them high five. You would not be having those solo scenes. Monique, what are you playing at? It's like, girl, who are you talking to? It's like, y'all were like, it's her job. I'm like, yeah, her job is also not to hit her coworkers. So which one is it? Because what she did at that reunion was personal. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't, like, yeah, you should be mad about that, but that didn't happen on the show. We're recapping what happened on the show. So that's why you need to shut the hell up.
I think that Monique's reputation and being in with the cool girls is more important to her than the rumor about her family. And that's why she remained close to Giselle until the fight. Right. Until she wasn't on her side. So that's what my explanation in my head is, why she was able to kiki and be alone with her and invite her into the house, is because her reputation and how good she looks on to Potomac or the streets is more important to her than what the rumor is, because she knows the rumor doesn't have legs. And she tried to do this live during the film or during the airing of the season because she's trying to create herself a storyline.
She's trying to say, like, get on my side. Look what they were doing to me behind the scenes. I'm like, girl.
It's not coincidental that this live happens during the season when she had already filmed and wrapped a season in which she was only part of like 30%. I feels like she was trying to create a moment and a storyline by giving air to this rumor that it didn't go anywhere because it doesn't have legs. So so that's why I'm saying that her reputation about like what people think of her and what her character is on the show is more important, because she was willing to out a rumor about her family in order to create a moment for herself.
Right. I'm like, girl, it's like, for the most, if the 3 streets in Potomac.
No, there's 4. There's a whole city.
Wait, hold on. There's a whole in block. The 4. You know what? That's the show title. In the 4 streets of Potomac.
What streets? There's only 4 streets.
I mean, I don't know. The 4 streets of Potomac. Okay, so
you're gonna have to go through all of this and choose a title. I don't know.
What? It's like, so this, for people who are trying to understand some things about BTS, let me just give you something about the Real Housewives of New Jersey, because the person that wanted to pull stuff out that didn't happen on the show was Danielle Staub, where she was sitting at the reunion and she brought up, were you there at the birth of your nephew?
I don't even remember that.
So Beverly. This is before Beverly lost her goddamn mind, where she so apparently, of course, this is before Melissa got on the show. So let's see. I think this is like maybe the season 3 or season 4 reunion.
Where you're reaching back into the annals of New Jersey.
So I just want to let y'all know. So this was actually season 2 of New Jersey, where Danielle Staub brought up that Melissa Gorga had been talking to her on Facebook. This is what she's saying. Facebook, if you can mind you, Facebook. That because Teresa and Melissa did not get along. This is before their introduction on season 3, where, let me make sure this is season 3. Homegirl, they had a whole Thriller in Manila, or the collision at the christening, because they don't get along. So Danielle at the reunion, because this is before Melissa and Kathy was on the show, she decided to bring up that Melissa or Teresa and Melissa don't get along, that she wasn't there to see the birth of her nephew. So that is the reunion where Teresa tossed Andy like a rag doll and got in her face. Mind you, she pushed him, got in the face. You do not talk about my family. She didn't hit her. I felt like she was going to. I think Andy thought that too. But yeah, that is
but
where
she did push her boss.
Yeah, it was like,
what the hell?
It him like a bad. I'm like, notice she's still there, and it's like, yeah, that was
not demoted, nothing.
And so it was like, what she just said did not come up on the show, and Danielle kept talking about it behind the scenes. So like this whole thing with the trainer thing, the plot. That's not new for me. I've seen other people do that. They did it on Beverly Hills. They're like, this is stuff that didn't come up on the show. A lot of the shows do it. So Potomac is not a unicorn in this. Monique, you made this your storyline. And I'm like, I don't know why you're like, the storyline was they're trying to ruin my family. And I'm like, yeah, I need your dinosaur needs more teeth.
I love that saying.
It's like, where are you getting this from? You're saying this is what happened. And then your girl Gigi keep going on. She went on IG Live a few months ago, and then she went private for her IG. Because I was following her. I'm like, she's going to end up going private. So I think if you deactivate your account and then reactivate it, people like you're not automatically a new follower. Because I was like, wait a minute, I thought I was following her. And it's like, oh, I think it's because she reactivated her account.
Oh, she must have deleted it then.
Yeah. You think is that what it is? Because
if I deactivate my account, like, and it's not searchable, but I reactivate it, everything is restored.
Oh, okay. So you think she deleted it and brought it back?
Or she just straight deleted you, Stephanie.
Oh, that might have been it. I mean, I don't know. She might. I know this bitch.
I know you affect her to that degree.
Because it was like, I didn't even react to her. She was just doing IG Live talking about it. She hadn't changed her story. She went on Facebook Live, I think, after the second part of the reunion last Sunday, and she deleted that. But baby, that's all on that's all. It's on YouTube if y'all really want to look. It's like it's on there. So I'm sitting here like, Monique, I don't think you realize you have changed your story about this fight dozens of times. Gigi has never changed her story. And so when
Gigi's apologized, it sounds like, and said, I shouldn't have said that, but like now she should have. I should have alluded to the paternity thing. I shouldn't have did that. But it's like the way she said it, it was like, you stopped wanting to be her friend. I'm like, I no longer want this friendship. You sent her a text. And it was just like, I was your friend for 14 years. So there's a lot going on with that. I'm like, I'm not going to tell you what kind of friend Gigi is. I don't care. Because it's like, girl, this is too much. You need to stop. Chris Samuels needed to sit the fuck down. And he stood up because when Chris Bassett was talking, he was yelling at Chris Samuels. And then here come Charisse. Here comes Monique yelling. And she's like, you were yelling at my way. He's like, who are you yelling at? Chris Samuels. He should have said, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to Chris. Because they're yelling, sit your big ass down. Sit down, Christopher. Sit down. It's like, why are you up? And then it's like, you want to jump shitty with Robin. And it was just like, you want them to admit something that did not happen. It's like, y'all act like y'all don't sit around and talk about rumors going on. Y'all have been doing that since day one on every daggone Housewives franchise. Why are y'all acting like this is new? I'm like, Chris, you need to stop this. You need to stop. And it's like, Monique, you need to stop. You want them to apologize for something that they did not do. It's like, did Giselle bring up the trainer rumor on the show? Yeah, she did. Did she talk about some sort of plot? It's like, we want to bust her ass? No, because it didn't happen. Even if the plot did happen, as I said, it didn't have legs, or it would have kept going.
No one believed it. It's like, people like Monique, and now it's like, see, here's the deal. She done messed this up because now there's people who know I wouldn't be surprised in the next, I don't know, few months, there's going to be some IG pages spilling some tea about Monique, because that's where I'm like, there is some smoke to this. And I'm like, I really hope there's not. And I'm like, I just want Monique to live her whole life with her bird that she potty trained with a puppy pad and her 3 cute kids and her beautiful house with a big, beautiful aquarium. I need you to do that, because on IG Live, after the third part of the reunion, because she was not getting a good edit, you saw people who had no problem with Candace being called a disaster on Twitter. They had no problem with Giselle being raked over the coals. They had no problem with them digging in. Like, I think the question that Andy said, is that his phone number? Yeah, it's his phone number. People love that. But
it was good.
It was like, when people were like, he's being biased to Monique, I'm like, oh, so you think that
that's not the case. Andy sat there like this.
It was like, it's like, Monique Samuels is not Bethany Frankel. Okay? It's like, and also, she hit her coworker at work. Why are y'all being like this? She hit her coworker at work. You cannot, he cannot sit there. So when people are like, what? People putting out videos, Bravo don't condone violence. Them showing violence is not the same as condoning it. Because you know who also says they don't condone violence? Mona Scott Young, aka the producer of Love and Hip Hop. It's like, how much violence happens on that show? Showing it doesn't mean they condone it.
I think the issue people took with that PSA statement that Andy gave was that it was not given before any white series in the franchise. It wasn't given when Stassi beat Kristen gave her a big backhand. It wasn't given with any Jersey bullshit. I think the problem that people had with that was that we don't condone violence was said, I believe, in the in Potomac, and I believe in Atlanta. So it seemed like there was some picking and choosing of when we don't condone violence. When we choose to say we don't condone violence. We don't say it when Teresa throws wine glasses, flips tables,
fashion show,
ponytails are pulled.
Right. We're not. We don't say it then. Thing. Yeah. No, so it's like, y'all can keep the bias, and it's like,
we don't say it when Lisa Rinna literally grabbed Kim Richards' neck when she reached across the table. No one has ever talked about that, but she reached across the table before she broke that glass. Her hand was on Kim Richards' neck.
What?
Like, it wasn't like clenched, but it was like
there.
Yeah.
Because then she had to stop herself, like, ooh, I was about to
but I was gonna say that is also an example of
restraint,
self-regulation. She broke a glass but 2 seconds later.
She smashed that glass.
Choke the bitch out.
Yeah.
She didn't choke the bitch out.
No. She should have, because y'all know how I feel about Kim Richards.
I think that Kim Richards is I say that Mary on Salt Lake City is like a mix between Karen Huger and Kim Richards.
Because I have to say, they're like, oh my God, I miss Kim Richards. I don't. She's an asshole. And she's an even bigger asshole when she was sober.
That's not uncommon, but people tend to be less fun and a little more stringent. I think that's what they're saying
about Bronwyn too, now that she's sober.
And Bronwyn's going through the process of getting rid of her addiction to alcohol, and we're watching that. Kim Richards went to rehab, so we didn't have to watch her like withdrawal and watch her integrate her family.
And also, it was more she's a lesbian, than alcohol with Kim Richards. She was doing drugs.
I don't know what she was doing. It's an alleged statement on your part, Stephanie.
It's allegedly. I'm trying to think of what drugs she told.
I'm interested too. Remember when she was in that hotel room in Hawaii with that creep?
Yeah. He was gross. I'm trying to think, because she also went on Dr. Phil, and I think she did tell him what drugs she did. So
now we gotta Google
Dr. Phil.
I want to know too. I don't think she was smoking crystal meth in the bathroom. I think it was probably
I don't think she was doing coke in the bathroom. I'm like,
no, she was way too slurry.
Yeah, I'm like, when they said, were you doing coke in the bathroom? It's like, no.
Oh, that was Dorit's house.
That's right. And was you doing coke in your bathroom? I was like, What in the less
than zero? Lisa Rinna, have you never been to a Coke party? Like, come on.
Like, Rinna, what in the less than zero hell is going on here? What do you think is happening?
Zero hell. I mean, what? You know, this is Hollywood. People do cocaine, whatever. Who cares?
Right. It's like, girl, what are you doing? And it's like, oh, okay. So
Lisa Rinna was around in the 80s. She knows people do cocaine, and it's fine.
It's like, Rinna,
whatever.
You playing in our face. Okay, so let's get back to Potomac. So the other house husband we need to talk about is Ray. It really kind of took it easy on Ray a little bit. It was kind of like, and he explained himself well. He was just like, yeah, I said it, and he explained. I'm like, okay, fair assessment. So when he announced that he wanted to renew his vows with her for the 25th year, I thought, oh, that's so sweet. And here come the Samuels. I just want to tell Monique that she is great. Girl, shut the fuck up. Get out.
The first thing I thought of about the vows thing was they're going to get divorced now. And I was like, right? Oh God. I'm like, vow renewal. And then Andy said it out loud.
Right.
And
I was like, the bad part about it is like, y'all, where's the lie? Everybody who has ever got their vows renewed on Bravo, they are all divorced.
Are they all? I know there's like.
Let's start with OC. So it is Vicky and Dawn. Yep.
Oh.
Shannon and David. Lori got married on Bravo. So no, she didn't get renewed.
Didn't Tamra do it?
I don't know if she did. I don't think they renewed her vows. She got the tattoo of his name on her ring finger.
Maybe that was her wedding to Eddie.
Yeah, that was her wedding to Eddie. That was her first wedding to Eddie. So she got married to him. Okay. Well, actually, you know what? There is one couple that is not divorced after getting their vows renewed.
Who that?
Stephanie from Dallas. They did renew their vows. Could have swore they renewed their vows. They are not divorced. So I think Stephanie and her husband, that I don't fucking know his name.
Oh, Trevor.
Yeah, Travis. That's it.
Travis. Yes. Yeah. Lisa and Ken are not divorced either.
Did they renew their vows? They did, didn't they? Yeah, they did. Yeah. They did. But she's also no longer on the show, so I feel like, but I'm just kidding. Wait, no, she still counts.
Neither is Vicky.
Neither is Vicky. That's true. I'm trying to think.
Counting all these people.
Wait, Kyle and Mauricio didn't renew their vows, right?
No.
Someone
said Bronwyn did, but I don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Yeah, I'm not watching OC. It's on this season. They renewed their vows this season, so they're still so now. It's
they're also not they're not broken up either.
They're also non-traditional because she got a whole cute girlfriend. Okay, her girlfriend is very cute. I was like, I saw that. So it's like, let's see.
Whitney on Salt Lake City is still with her husband.
That's true. They renewed their vows. I mean, it just started, but we're like
very new.
But it also that is her introduction. So I think she might buck the curse because she walked in renewing her vows. That was her introduction to us. At least I hope so. It wasn't like she's been married and then they renewed it after a few seasons. So
I just thought it was really distasteful of Andy to be like, congratulations, by the way, there's a curse. Sorry.
Right. And it was just like there. So we've named 3 couples that have done it. Yeah. Of course, everybody knows. Well, actually, no, that wasn't
Ramona and Mario.
And Mario. I don't count Nene renewing their vows because they got remarried.
And they're also still married.
So it's like they got remarried. This is the second wedding. They didn't renew their vows. And of course, we know Cynthia and Peter. They're part of the curse too.
They renewed their vows? We were only married like 2 years.
Yeah, in Anguilla. Which was super weird. I'm like,
because they had just gotten married.
Yeah. So it's like they only been married like a couple years. I'm like, maybe because y'all bank account is now green again. So maybe that's it. So mind you, we've named a lot of people, and there are people who have beaten the curse. That's 3 couples, 3 different couples. So I'm pulling for Karen and Ray. So I think like
I don't want them to break up either.
I don't either. I think Ray really is a gold star husband. I know it's crazy for me to give him that label, but I think he's a good husband. You know, it's kind of like he's not trying to steal scenes. He's like, this is her thing and I'm just here, but he was still able to be honest with her, saying, I feel like the dynamic has changed, and technically it has. I'm like, she's been a stay-at-home housewife for 20 something years, and then you get Potomac, and then it's like, she ain't never home. What the hell? It's like, where you at?
I think the part that bugs me about the money thing is I get that it's a partnership, and she did give some of what she's calling her money because she earned it to help him with his situation a few years ago, the tax situation. But everybody's like, you lived this kept woman privileged life as if she wasn't raising her family.
Children. It's like she wasn't just sitting
making
at home.
Food or like, yeah, it's not like we're not monetizing that labor.
Correct.
So it's not like she just sat home eating bonbons and like doing her nails and waiting for Ray to come home. They weren't single. She had family to raise.
She had to maintain a house. So it's like, I'm not discounting her at all, because I think when she joked about, I think she was joking about the money. It's probably because in the state of their whole marriage, she wasn't pulling in the money that she's pulling in because of housewives. It's like, so, you know, she's, you know, this is just different for her. And now, as someone who has probably been not working for 20 something years, she's had a job before. It's like, it probably feels good that she could actually help. And it wasn't just, I'm pretty sure she felt good that she could help Ray, because she actually had the capital to do so, because she's right. The tax thing they had nothing to do with his personal taxes. This is about his professional. This is his company's taxes. So it technically did not. So when she said Karen does not owe taxes, I'm like, she actually kind of is right, because it wasn't, it had nothing to do with them as a couple. This is like for his company. So, and that proves
Robin's wrong, which is like why Robin kept saying, how did you not know? How did you not know? If it's his business, why would she know?
Why would she know?
She's not his accountant.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, I wasn't surprised when she didn't know. I'm like, yeah, I'm not kind of surprised by that. It's like,
I just don't think that, like, it's not like she was sitting around getting money for free. So when people are like, you didn't work for 20 years and he gave you all this money, so
why would you have a corporate job for 20 years?
How dare you say you want your money back? If they keep their money separate now,
I would not blame her. It's like,
because they're having marital problems.
She could take all of her Bravo checks and to put into account for her to do whatever the fuck she wants.
Because they're having marital.
That's fine.
Yeah, and they're having marital problems. She should be creating her an egg, like an
Easter egg. Girl, get your little nest egg together.
Nest egg, that's the word. Nest egg, because what if they do disintegrate as a couple? Like she's out half her money because she backed his business to get out of this tax thing. I would want my money back too if my relationship were on rocky ground and there was no guarantees. Well, there's no guarantees anyway, but there's less of a guarantee when my husband's telling me he doesn't know if he's in love with me. That makes me feel like he didn't need to get my paper in order.
Correct.
So
because that thing about
I don't think it's ridiculous that she asked for
after their house. They could have been leaning on the house. Like the IRS wants their money, so they would get it any way that they can.
That's true. The IRS is pretty relentless. I don't see anything wrong with her saying, I want my money back.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm fine with that.
That's my hot take.
Yeah. It's like, no, I think that's fine. And it's like, that's what it is. The star of this, I'm sorry, the MVP of this reunion is definitely Chris Bassett, because he was able to articulate what's going on with Michael. It's like, on one hand, I kind of wish Michael would be here, but quite frankly, I feel like with the additions of all the husbands, it probably wouldn't have went that well.
I need to see his
Michael don't know how to talk to black people. I'm like, Michael don't know how to talk to black people. He don't. And I'm like, true. See, you got one more time. See, Chris is like time enough for you. Because Ray did not like him. He's like, you know, I don't like Michael. It's like, oh, he really don't. He's never changed that. And then there's Chris Samuel. So when Chris Bassett brought up that Chris Samuel was about to beat Michael's ass, notice he was like, yeah. And he's like, and I came to you, and he's like, you're right. I respect that. And it was like, yeah, because he don't have no problem with Chris. And low key, I feel like he don't really have a problem with Candace either. It's kind of like, because the way that he reacted after the fight, he's like, oh man, this sucks. I like Candace and Chris. I'm like, that's interesting. And then when they were leaving, and both of the Chris's, he was like, man, I wasn't yelling at you. I wasn't yelling at your wife. I was yelling at you. And they're like, and they dapped it up, and it's over. And it's like,
right.
Yeah.
They have a fantastic friendship.
Right. Yeah. It's like, they actually are grown-ups. And it's like, he's like, I don't know if our wives are going to be friends again. They're not. But
they're not.
They're not. They're not. So, and that's fine. And it's like, you're going to have to stick. It's like, you're going to have to stick with your wife, and that's what you're going to have to do. That's it. And it's fine. You're like, we'll be cordial if we have to see each other. But as of last night, Monique said she's done with Housewives reality TV because I'm like, honey, it's very interesting you're doing that. You're doing that because it didn't go the way you wanted. So it's very interesting that people were like, oh my God, that's great. 2 and 3, they're like, oh my God, they treated her wrong. There's so much bias against Monique.
She beat someone up.
It's like, you have to be accountable for that. He couldn't let her skate, because you can't sit here and go, okay, so physical violence is okay because everybody likes Monique. No, baby, it's not okay. And she needs help. But I also thought she should have come back to at least do, I know Nene is a Gold Star housewife. When she came back to Housewives, what did she do? She apologized to Eva. I didn't like her apology, but she still gave it. She apologized to work things out with Cynthia. She apologized, I believe, to Candy, to Portia. She made amends to a lot of people. That is what I wanted for Monique. Sit down with everybody, even if it's a group, because Giselle is not going to meet with you. But if you got to sit here, she's like, I want us to move forward. That is what you should have did. That is what I wanted for Monique. That's all she had to do. Because, ma'am, your binder just went to chorus on all of this. I'm sitting here like, honey, how do you move forward? How do you move forward with this group? You can't. It's like, I'm sorry. I'm like, ma'am, you put a tab on us on everybody. Tell me how I'm supposed to trust you. How am I supposed to build or rebuild a friendship with you when you go out of your way to do research with your group? Because I know you didn't do that by yourself, baby. I'm not stupid. It's like, I know you had help. Please explain to them how they're supposed to move forward with you. They can't. Without being like, I don't know, is this sincere? I wanted Monique to make those amends, because if you really are going to therapy, baby, you need at least 2 or 3 years in active therapy, maybe once a week, maybe twice a month, depending on how much you got the money, so you got the time, that you could actually sit down and work out your issues, because you have a lot of unresolved trauma that a lot of us have. So it's not a Monique thing. She's not a unicorn on unresolved trauma. She could work through that.
And the best way to work through it is to use it in the moment. And if she's not going to be on the show and she's surrounding herself in her own fans, you're not both online and real life, when are you going to work? You do the work.
You need to do the work. It's like, even if it's not for the show, you need to do it for you. And it's like, ma'am, I don't know what you want us to say, but honey, I just want good things for Monique. You can't sit at my table, but you get my sympathy and empathy. I meant that. It's like, I don't want her. That. I was like, baby, you can't sit at my table. I don't want to sit with you. I don't want to talk to you. However, you get my sympathy and empathy, because there's a lot going on there. It's a lot of pain. Because when she said she blacked out, everybody's like, I don't believe it. I'm like, I saw the minute that she blacked out when she was holding Candace's hair and not moving. And she was just holding it. And I was like, she blacked out. She gone.
That's why I made the differentiation when I was on Taria's podcast, and that's why I said I don't think she's using the right words, because blacking out is, not remembering. You don't
remember anything.
I think what she should have said is I was in fight or flight. She used the term my adrenaline was going and I blacked out.
Like,
and I think what she meant was that she was in fight or flight, because she clearly was able to recreate what happened when she got in the car after the fight. And the rage had taken over her so much while she was during the fight. I mean, you could see that she was in fight or flight even when she was in Karen's living room.
Right.
Like, she still was in like reactionary mode. Yeah. Which is why she wasn't able to experience remorse. But she said, it's my adrenaline still pumping. But it's just, like, she's just not using the right word.
It's like, you're still upset. Right. You can still be mad 5 days later. This is why when she said it and she wasn't remorseful, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna give you the space to do that, because I think that's very honest. There are a lot of people like, no, I'm not. I'm like, no, I'm so fucking mad about this. But it's like, you're mad about other shit.
She could have just said, I'm still triggered.
Right.
I don't believe for one moment she blacked out. Like, seeing red. There's other ways to say it.
There's other words.
She didn't forget shit.
Right. It's like you could replay word for, like, you had notions about, you had thoughts, you explained what happened in the car after you left. I'm like, that's not blackout to me. I'm like,
no,
you just lost control. Yeah, you just lost control, baby. And it's happened. And it's like, you can work through this. You're not irredeemable. And it was like, for you to just leave because you're like, I was gaslit, and then everybody's like, yep, she was gaslit and it's so wrong. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what employer can condone physical violence? They can't. That is like, and it's like, you're like, yup, we don't condone violence. I'm like, because that's what they're supposed to say. You need to say that on every fucking show, Andrew, but you need to say
every time a violent thing happens.
Every time. And
you didn't do that. Jennifer Aiden throws a plate, anything.
Y'all ain't saying it on Jersey. You ain't saying it on Pump Rules. You ain't saying it on Dallas.
Put a disclaimer at the beginning of every episode of every show on Bravo.
Like, we don't condone violence.
Right. Because it's likely to happen on every episode of every show on Bravo.
Right. It's like, we're not, Andrew, we're not doing this. So I also want to address this thing of them saying that Andy was too hard on Monique.
I'm just keep hearing all of this from different.
God at work.
And also the first episode, everybody was like, everybody was saying that he wasn't hard enough
because you not holding Monique accountable. I'm like, excuse me.
Which one is it?
He allowed Brandy to bring a whole chair and say, Leanne need to sit here and let people yell at her. He ain't say, no, don't do that. That's not wrong. It's like, it's fine.
That's so ridiculous.
He does. It's kind of like, y'all, I have seen him grill people. He grills a lot of people. Dorinda, Ramon, like New York, he definitely goes after them. Jax, he's done it on Pump Rules. He has done it on Beverly Hills with Dorit. And like literally with Camille, he holds people accountable, but because you don't like him, it's fine. It's like, oh, he's grilled a lot of people. He's notorious at grilling New York. It's like he grills them all the time. And also Teresa, he be digging in her ass, and she is the face of the franchise. It's like, like y'all want to bring up the black Atlanta? I'm like, totally fine, but he also let Kim get grilled, and what did she do? It's like, how dare you let that happen to me? He was like, what do you mean? He was looking like, what? What do you mean?
Well, she was wrong.
Right, exactly. And notice he was like, how dare you let this happen to me? And he was like, but Kim, it's like, so when people were just like, he don't hold other people. He treated him wrong. I'm like, Kim Zolciak got in his face and said, how dare you y'all just let them attack me. And it was like,
Kim Zolciak forced him off the stage during the middle of the reunion to come to her dressing room or the bathroom or whatever. Correct. To come soothe her. After and then allowed her to say some pretty jacked up things about Black women.
And he did not correct her. He Vicky is another one he's famous for. He definitely
did not correct her.
He's famous for Vicky and Kelly Dodd. And so it's kind of like, there's a lot of times he holds people accountable and some people who don't. But there's no way that he could not hold somebody who was physically violent on one of these shows accountable. Because even though it's like he didn't say we don't condone violence on every time, yeah, he digs and jacks his ass every goddamn time he's on Watch What Happens Live and the reunion. He does it every damn time. He dug in Teresa's ass. He got into Joe's face. He got in Dorinda's face. He got it. He did it to Carol, and I was team Carol on this. I'm like, so first of all, but
he needed to get in Bethany's face for that one.
Exactly. I was like, you were team Carol.
He's scared of Bethany.
Like, yeah.
Oh, Carol even said, "Are you afraid of her?"
He did. She was like, "That is bullshit, Andy." He was like,
"Are you afraid of her? Are you afraid of her too?
You. Have you lost your mind? I will get you the fuck out of here." What did you say to me?
She asked him if he was afraid of her, and I think the answer is yes.
Yes. It's like Bethany is a huge fan favorite.
Right.
And it was like, she can go.
She will sue you, and she will sue you in court for 10 years.
Right. I'm like, you are not. When she said she's not divorced yet, I went, I'm sorry?
I'm not going to say what I think about that, other than I don't think that is her. I think that is partially her doing.
Oh, that definitely is. Because the thing about it is like when they said that, it also made me think of Leanne Locken when they talk about accountability. He had no problem not letting up because she should have got her ass dragged, and she did. So it's like if you you have bad behavior on this show, it is a disservice not to address it on the fucking reunion. He didn't let up on James Kennedy. And he didn't let up on the Witches of WeHo. He did not let up on, he definitely don't let up on Jax. It's like Jax is like, oh, you want to come attack me again? It's like, well, Jax, you keep doing this shit. What you want me to do? Stop doing stuff to make me hold you accountable, sir.
I will miss him embarrassing Jax on TV. That was one of my favorite things
like,
ever.
Every time Watch What Happens Live, he's shady as hell. So it can't be, you treated him unfairly. I'm like, I hear what y'all saying, because the only people who seem to have suffered any quote unquote consequences to physical violence, be it demotion or cutting your episodes, has been Portia and Nene. That is it. Nothing happened to Teresa. Nothing has happened to Jax. Nothing has it's like nothing happened to Leanne. You didn't fire
Leanne was
her.
fired. Leanne was fired.
No, I'm talking about for violence, not because of like what happened. Like she busted the glass up in Duber's face. I think that was season 2 or 3.
Oh yeah, that was the season that she was supposedly all zen.
Right. I was like, girl, it's like y'all haven't gotten rid of her. You didn't do it to Stassi. Stassi did not go anywhere. So there is a little bit of merit to the Black housewives see consequences, quote unquote, but not everybody. It's not uniform. And I agree with that, because there are only 2 people that I know that got consequences was the 2 women from Atlanta. And that's the thing. It's like,
what did Nene do to have consequences?
So what happened was that whole thing after like the fight with the cameraman, apparently they cut some of her episodes. Remember, she wasn't on like a first good quarter of the season.
Okay, now I remember.
So it's like and she was like, I wasn't demoted. They didn't take my thing. I'm like, yeah, I think you are. Because that Cameron was like, yeah, I could press charges. And I think he did.
And then they also did not ask her back. Right? That was that a season?
So what was happened? I think for this upcoming season, they were like cutting her episodes and they were cutting her pay. Because I think at the time she was getting paid for the whole season. And I think they redid the contract or something. I'm like, I don't know what you're doing. Because it used to be like they get a whole pay for the season. They weren't being, and I was like, I don't know if it's like their contract is set up, they pay by episode or just for the whole entire season.
Oh, they used to be paid by the season, and now it's by episode. Because
so they cut her episodes.
Sometimes I was confusing the season she had the closet situation with the season that just ended. Those are separate. The closet season, she came back the next season.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that's what it is.
Again,
so,
time is messed
social
up.
construct. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
So I really did. I wanted her to come back. I really wanted Monique to come back because she could fix this, but this requires something. She has to relent a little bit, and I don't think she's ready for that because Chris ain't for it either. But because him and Monique are in a good spot financially, they can step away from this.
I have a feeling after the way Chris reacted last night that he was probably like, I don't want you to do this shit anymore.
And I think that's fine because I think for the most part, she does need to take a little bit of a break. That's how I felt about Dorinda's last season. I'm like, when she didn't come back, I was like, or I don't know if they said she was fired or she didn't decide she was fired. I think it's just what she alluded to.
Dorinda was fired. Yeah. I think that after what we saw with Chris and his behavior and the fact that they are blaming the show for this rumor, it wouldn't bode well for Monique and her mental health to return.
Yeah, she needs a break. I'm like, you need a break from all of this.
I agree that there might have been a redemption season, just like Dorinda could have. I think that's what I
wanted. I'm like,
they need breaks though.
Yeah, it's like you need to take a mental break. I hope she does. Get to come back. I would love. Yeah, I would like for because I'm like, Monique isn't a bad housewife. She just wasn't my favorite, and people are really acting like she was the face of the franchise, and she was not.
Yeah,
because everybody's like, what was going to be Candace's storyline? Hi, what was Monique's storyline?
Yeah,
please don't say that goddamn bird.
I do love that bird. When things reach a fever pitch, like they did with Dorinda and Monique, it was like
there was. I'm like,
they need to leave. They need to leave.
Go. I'm like, I don't know what Tinsley did to you, but you need to take a break. You need a little bit of a timeout, sweetheart. You need to go.
Yeah, let redemption happen next season or the season after. But keeping them on because the storyline and the redemption would have been good. Just I don't think that would have been good for either of them.
Yeah. Mentally. I don't count this as a win because Candace did say I didn't want to film with her. I'm like, hi y'all. And I'd be like, that's not possible. I'm like, you do realize when I think after Portia was like moved back down to a friend of, she didn't record she wasn't filming with Kenya. Kenya did not film with her. And it's like, even with Kenya and Nene not liking each other, at the most it was group shots.
Candace would have done group stuff. Like she would have given in,
but she wouldn't have interacted with her, and that's
fine. She needs the show way too much. She never would have left.
Right, it was like
Monique stayed. I didn't believe that bluff.
I was like, she's gonna stay. I was like, I don't think I honestly like Candace on the show. She's part of a really good ensemble. I'm like, I don't know what to tell y'all. It's like I liked all of them. I'm like, Monique didn't need to leave, and Candace don't need to leave. I kind of wish Monique liked it, but because she didn't like what it didn't redeem her. And it was just like, why do you put your hands on somebody and then you need redemption? I'm like, girl, you should have came here with contrition. And it's like, you should have just apologized off rip. You would have dead this really quickly. We would have needed 3.5 hours of a reunion if you had just came here and said, let me start here. This is how you get rid of shit, when you apologize correctly. Not saying I got to defend that I was right. I'm like, you spent a whole episode saying you were right. Then you come to the third part saying she didn't deserve that. I'm like, baby, she's literally been saying that for over a year. What happened to me I didn't deserve? People are like, yes, you did. And I'm like, how many times did Monique need to say that? She should have said that. She should have went off rip. Or you should have called her up after all of this is dropped and worked this out. I'm like, can we work this out? It's like, we don't have to be best friends. We don't have to be as close, but I don't want you to feel like you can't be in a room with me because you didn't honor her trauma when she was going through it because you thought you were right. You were mad that she pressed charges. No one ever told Kenya she was wrong for pressing charges on Portia because she wasn't. It's like, we are adults. Y'all have legal teams. This is not the playground. You don't put your hands on adults. It's not okay because you don't like what they're saying. It's like, then walk the fuck away. Or don't interact with somebody that you just, you can't control. Like, look, she say something, I'm gonna say something back to her. It's like, then don't do this with yourself. Don't do this. Don't tear yourself up mentally, Monique, because you think that you're right. I'm like, do you want to be happy or do you want to be right? Sometimes that's two different things. You need to be happy. You didn't choose happiness. You chose violence, literally and figuratively.
I wonder if Monique had just apologized the next episode, what would the storyline of the season have been?
Exactly. She would have been a Madeira probably.
Are we Portugal? But I mean, like, what else would have they?
What were they going to talk about? It couldn't have been that podcast. Yeah, I ain't going to talk about that.
I think that we might be dealing with another like story, like one incident that's dragged out through an entire season.
And that was however in Beverly Hills, and I can't do this again.
Right. But juxtaposed with Beverly Hills, this was like a titillating season. I'm okay with what happened, dragging it out. I wish Monique would have apologized, but I do think how would the season have turned out? Would it have been very interesting?
Yeah, and also with Beverly Hills this season, didn't they have to pause filming? No. Were they still filming when COVID started? I feel
they didn't. They weren't, but they did have to stop confessionals, and then they did like
because it was like
they did like a 2-week pause so they could finish them.
And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So, because one is like there were so many people on Beverly Hills. I'm like, I wanted to see Erica Jane's journey to Broadway. We didn't get to see that. I'm like, we saw a couple of scenes, and I'm like, so this is why when people are like, what are the storylines? I'm like, you do realize that's not how Housewives is set up. There are some people who are accessories to storylines. Erica Jane is famous for that. It's like, I'm sorry, what's her storyline? Except she pats the puss. She's married to Tom Girardi. She is pretty. She wears shoes. I mean, I don't know what her major storyline is. Everybody can't have a compelling storyline. There are some people who drive it. There are messy boots peoples. There are bone collectors. And there are accessories. I'm like, and there are frenemies. So it's like, everybody got to play their position.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that we're not moving into that format with Potomac.
I hope not, because I can't do this. I'm like, no, it was dumb last season with Denise. It was dumber the season with Lucy Apple Juicy, which, kids came up with that name. I'm like, who the fuck? Kids. I forgot.
They weren't even clever enough to call it Lucy Apple Juicy. It was Lucy Apple Juice. And it has driven me crazy that the dog's last name wasn't just Juicy. And someone else brought that up, and I was like, thank you. Why didn't they just do that in the first place? I actually was a bit enthralled with the whole Radar Online thing and Kyle getting yelled at by Lisa and Ken, but then after that ended and Lisa went away.
Kyle.
Yes.
I'm like, Ken, I love you. R.I.P. to Jiggy.
I think I know. I miss R.I.P.
Jiggy.
R.I.P. Jiggy. I want to say that my feelings about Beverly Hills went way down after that fight and after Lisa Vanderpump stopped filming. I know a lot of people dislike her, but I think that she really kind of ran that show. I'm so bored with them.
Yeah. It's kind of like, oh, good Lord. So, y'all, it was a 3.5 hour reunion. There's no possibility we could talk about this in 1 hour.
And it's a 5.5 hour podcast.
It's gonna be breaking down. Yeah, I'm gonna have
breaking it down.
I love her theme song. So
I wish I could sing. Sorry, Sasha.
Breaking it down. She's like, yes, girl. This is how much I watched the Bravo breakdown. Bravo.
Oh, someone's got some pipes.
See? I was like, I love it, Sasha. I watch it so much. But
now I feel embarrassed about that Bill Withers I was singing earlier.
So, y'all, as Dr. Wendy would say, we are putting a button on season 5 of The Real Housewives of Potomac.
I'm sorry, that's wrapped in tape. It's going in a vault. I never want to talk about Potomac ever again.
I'm like, I love y'all, but it's like a lot of us who are like, we are team violence is not the answer. Some people who are team Candace are like, we are tired of talking about this. I feel like some even team Monique people are like, I'm tired of talking about this. So everybody take a break. The library is closed until further
the
notice.
Door is closed.
Right. The door is closed. We are not talking about this anymore. It's like you got to take a break from Potomac. A lot of people were like looking at people differently. Like, you think that? I'm like, can't do it. I'm like, I'm fine with this. I'm like, I am going to enjoy time off when I turn off my brain because I am officially on vacation. I'm like, I can't do this with y'all. I'm like, I'm on vacation. And I'm like, I'm on, like, the library is closed until 2021 for Stephanie. So it's like, I need a break. But before we get out of here, Lily, thank you so much for hopping on Mocha Minutes. I appreciate you. This has been like so much fun. I'm glad we got to talk about this. And I'm glad you hung on for the duration. I feel like I'm Taria, like, recording for 17 hours. I'm like, we had our own little mini reunion. We've been sitting here like, woo, child, can we get our makeup touched up for this? but Lily, please let everybody know where they can find you on the social medias and follow and see your cute stuff on your show and your memes and your vids.
I want to thank you that you took 5.5 hours out of your vacation day after months and months and months of fighting online and doing podcasts and talking about this ad nauseum. This is a treat, an honor. I'm so glad that I'm the final nail in the coffin that we are calling the season of Potomac. Thank you, my friend. You guys can find me on Instagram at ShesStartin, and that's ShesStartin. No G at the end of that. She is starting. I'm also at the same handle on Twitter, though I will tell you I do use Twitter only to screen grab and post to my IG. I am pretty active on Twitter, more than I used to be, but I really only use it so I can create a picture of my actual thoughts so that I don't have to put a picture up and put it in the caption. And I know that I'm not the only one who does that, but follow me on both.
Okay. Yes, please do. Well, guys, this is the Mocha Minutes podcast. If you're at the end of this, realize this has been chopped and screwed.
I can't wait to hear the edited version.
This is so exciting. So, guys, please take care of yourself. Enjoy the rest of the holiday season. Take whatever time you need to. Watch Steven Universe is on HBO Max. Yeah, whatever you need to do. Everybody enjoy your night, and I will be back. Bye!
Bye! Happy holidays! Go to bed.
In on Candace and her Twitter usage and what she says. Candace's mouth is diabolical, but I will always stand up for Candace and her mouth because Candace is defending herself. You cannot say what you want to people and then expect them to sit there and take it. They come for Candace first, and she finishes it, and she has better reads, period. Candace outwits them, and they can't take it. And then when Giselle was like, Candace, you go way below the belt. Giselle, please shut up because you go below the belt too. You say nasty things all the time, but you're just upset that you're outclassed and outmatched and outwitted. That's all it is. Candace ate you up talking about your tear down house and how you only had 2 nickels to rub together. You're still mad about that.